I would say when I grew up in central New Jersey, and we lived by a little forest, and there was a river and a bunch of streams. So I was always outside, like I was a little tomboy, and I was always digging in the dirt and really getting my hands in the mud. And I think at that age I was interested in clay and I didn't even realize it. For me, just making artwork is my therapeutic way of transforming like darker, deeper things like grief and loss and death and sadness and that blackness, that like pit that we all feel from time to time, and not just like running away from it and not ignoring it, but I take these things and I stare at them and I say, what can I do with this feeling? Like, what can I do with it? And my solution is my artwork. It's just my way of transforming something really ugly into something that I find beautiful. I've always felt like it just don't fit in somehow. Like I've always felt like I'm just observing, and like it's really hard to describe. Like I feel like I'm in a snow globe sometimes, and this is a feeling that I've had since I was little, and this picture really captures that. It's like when I'm making my art, I think I make it because I feel so much, and I'm trying to understand. My art is my way of trying to understand what this is. We don't think about it. We're born and like we come here and we like get jobs and we get lost in like the everyday, but what is this place? Like I always wonder that since I was a little kid. I would lay in my bed and fall asleep and I would think about just how big the universe is, how big the sky is, and then I would get a little scared. I would say, well, what's at the edge of that? Like, I don't know. I like to look at some of these from time to time, these little drawings. My favorite place was the planetarium, because obviously I love the sky, I love looking up. A lot of my work is about looking up, even if it's like spiritually looking up. Like if you're feeling lost, like just look up, and that's something that I always do. As you can see, I like to make lots of sculptures out of ceramics, and I do some art on paper, watercolor, mixed media. I just really like materials. I like experimenting with new things. So this piece here is called Rosy Cheeks, and this is the centerpiece, and I'll just turn this around. It's a little cheeky, but she's got a big rotund backside, and it's about this woman who's just bursting with joy and love and creativity and like beauty and like all the good things, but she's kind of bursting from the inside out. It's like she's not looking for anything in the external world, but she's tapping into like her own well of happiness. It was my kind of way of reimagining the Cinderella story. And I called it Rosy Cheeks because it's kind of like a tongue-in-cheek on her backside. So that was kind of like an instance where everything kind of came together to tell this fun little story with this particular piece. A lot of my work, there's this sense of things moving upwards or energy kind of rising through your body and moving up into the sky. I feel like all human beings have like this creative antenna, and if we're so busy and we're so immersed in things that don't mean anything, we will lose connection to your spirit, you know? Like you lose touch with that, and that's so important because like that, for me, gives my life meaning, and I never feel alone because I feel like something's always guiding me, you know? One of my favorite painters is Henri Rousseau. He just has like this beautiful way of capturing his own world in this dream environment, but you can tell when you look at his paintings, things are a little bit naive and they're a little off, and I love that about it. It's like not coming from his brain, it's coming more from his soul. I have lots of different little books of poetry that sometimes I read, but I still have this really long research paper I wrote when I was about 16 on how the Industrial Revolution caused people to want to go back and revert back to nature, which is something that I find is like a very relevant theme to now, because we have all of this technology, but yet where is it taking us? And if we lose touch with nature and tangible things like objects and walking outside and talking to people and making eye contact and things like that, I think we are really at a loss as a civilization. So I'm pretty passionate about that. This was a really interesting piece for me to work on. It's supposed to make you feel uncomfortable. The colors vibrate and it's not necessarily calming to look at, but I created this by laying down different inks and letting them mix in their own organic ways, which you'll see here. And I used that blackest black to create this kind of black hole pattern for the wings. And I painted these pieces separately and collaged them, because I like to add different elements of collage every now and again, but I like to make my own papers and textures. This piece is about my mother. She, over the last 6 years, had immense spinal surgeries, which is like a very, very disturbing thing to witness. So that was a therapeutic piece to work on for me, you know? It's not easy to go through these things, so thank God I have my art to help me get through it. Someone once said, I don't know who said this, but it's a quote that I love. It's "Tend the garden you can touch." And that really stuck with me, because I'm not trying to save the world. I'm just trying to build community within a small radius. And in that way, I'm helping myself, I'm helping the people that are near me, they're helping me. And it's just this very close network of joy and beauty and healing and happiness. And if everyone could have a little network like that, I think the world could be a better place. It's really important to listen to your body. That's a really huge lesson I've learned. What is your body saying? Not your brain, but your body. And for me, it's my stomach, it's my gut. If I'm talking to a person, if I'm working on a piece of art, or I listen to my gut and what is it saying? And I think in 2016, I was like, I need to take a break. I need to focus on something else. And so I started working with ceramics. I started really going inward. I started to just sit with my own thoughts. And this is all was really scary stuff for me, because I'd never sat down with my eyes closed and breathed. And at the time, I had the ability to carve out some time to explore this other world, which it seems pretty scary now in retrospect when I look back. I feel like I kind of just jumped off of a cliff, and there was no place to go but the direction that I was falling. And I'm so happy that I jumped off the cliff, even though I've lost so many things, I've changed so many times, I've moved so many times. It's all been worth it, because it's this greater unfolding, and I'm really just trying to see who I'm becoming, and I don't know who that is. I'm just kind of falling into whoever I am becoming, I think.